Hello and welcome to the Postcard of the Week. This is the 26th week of 2019. This week's postcard is a World War I German real photo postcard at the trenches that has been colorized. It shows 12 infantry soldiers from what I believe was during the early stages of trench warfare during the late fall of 1914. This would have been the period just after the Battle of Marne, when the German army began to establish trenches at the Ain River during what is commonly referred to as a race to the sea. By November of 1914, trench lines were established between the North Sea, traveling all the way down to the border on Switzerland. So, if you like the content of this video and the history of this period, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check us out on War Portraits on Facebook as well. And now let's go ahead and dig deeper into this historical photograph. Okay, first and most importantly, this is a photo that starts and ends with the person who took the photo and the 12 men photographed. Without them, we cannot have this view into the past, and therefore we are eternally grateful. Next, we have to comprehend what this photograph has gone through over its lifetime. So, to think about it this way, think the camera's film was removed, sent in, and developed at some point. How many prints or postcards were made is unknown. The postcard is unused. Okay, it survived the war. It survived the post-war turmoil, the hyperinflation, the Depression, the rise of the Third Reich, the Second World War, the Cold War, and the post-unification. At some point during its 100-year-plus lifespan, it crossed over from Europe and landed in the United States. This real photo postcard survived the heat, the light, the humidity, the dirt, the excessive handling, the moisture, the fire hazards, and the endless risk of it being thrown away over its 100 years in existence. So we are thankful that it survived to where it is today, so we can appreciate it for its historical significance today. Next, let's go back a few years to when this photograph was most recently purchased in November of 2017. At some point, this German real photo postcard found its way to a dealer who specializes in historical military photographs. This dealer sells on eBay and at various military shows and does extensive travel to obtain his inventory. Rick from Historical Media attends the Ohio Valley Military Society collector shows regularly. I have purchased from Rick on eBay and directly from him in the past through his online store, and find him to be an excellent dealer and a wealth of knowledge. I finally was able to meet him in person at the Ohio Valley Military shows, and also the other shows where this was purchased at, the Wilmington show. Rick brought this World War I postcard to the OVMS Wilmington show at the Roberts Center in November of 2017. He had it in his World War I material and had it listed for sale, I can't remember, between $1 and $3. I'll include a link to his website in the comment section below just so you can take a look at it. The Ohio Valley Military Society is one of the oldest and largest military collector societies in the U.S. and around the world. They offer 3 very well organized and attended military shows: the MAC show and the Wilmington show, which are, from what I understand, a lot of times they're dealer shows, and then the Showa shows. And the Showa shows is the largest military collectible show in the world. It is just absolutely amazing to attend. I'll put a link to their website and their upcoming shows in the comment sections below. Think about becoming a member and attending their show. It's definitely well worth it. So the show that this was purchased at was in Wilmington, Ohio, and it was November of 2017. So this is their next show that they're offering here. But just a wonderful show. And you can kind of see here in the picture the kind of variety of military collectibles you're going to have. And there are several photograph or postcard, probably dealers in there, Rick being one of them, so that's all they sell. But then even in some of these other ones, you'll find, you just got to be really good just going from table to table. Sometimes they'll have a like a shoebox or something that will have photographs and postcards in it. So you really have to walk every aisle and just kind of scan around to get a good look. And then over here you've got the dates for the upcoming shows. So they have 2 shows at Wilmington. They got next one in November. You also have the MAC show, which is in September, and that's going to Monroeville, Pennsylvania for 2019, and I think it might be moving on 2020. And the show of shows, that's the one you definitely want to attend at some point in your life if you can. Just an absolutely amazing show. So enter me, the nerdy me, and where I fit into this story. So I had the weekend off and decided to check out the show, as I've been impressed with their shows through the show of shows, and was a member of the OVMS. Me, at this stage of my collecting, I'm looking for war portrait photography and photographs that are interesting as well as well composed or historically significant. At this stage, I'm largely looking for World War I and interwar postcards and photographs. While looking through Rick's collection, I found this photograph, but the first thing that caught my eye was its condition, as it was very poor condition with the bottom corners being torn away, dirt, and significant edge wear. Then I took a closer look and thinking it's a nice card, but the condition is poor. But I really liked how it was composed and the multiple facial expressions it presented. And then what really struck me is I saw what you'll see when I show you the large picture, that one of the 12 soldiers is actually sticking his tongue out in the photo shoot. I thought to myself, oh, this is a little different for World War I photo. It's something you're more likely to see today with cell phones and all the selfies. Yet, you think about it. You think about the World War I period, the importance of images today with cell phones and selfies and the like. World War I was very similar because this is the democratization of the camera, and it was very popular and the masses could afford it, and this is especially true in Germany, and especially the portability of it and the use of being able to put this on postcards and sending it back to their loved ones. So, it has some similarities to today as well. So I purchased a photo. I can't remember what I purchased it for, either $1 or $3. Not really too valuable of a card. Can't remember exactly. Returning home, I was looking at the photo and its condition. I was thinking, this photo is just an outstanding photograph, and it would make a great photo restoration or colorization project. And full disclosure, I am not a colorist or a photo restoration person at all. I would love to learn it, but I just haven't had the time. So I have nothing but admiration and respect for those that do it. So to the internet I turned, to several colorization groups that specialize in war-related photography to see if anyone was interested. Okay, to see if they saw that, that quality that I saw. So, and by the way, these pictures here are just to my feeds, which is War Portraits on Facebook. I'll have the links below to check it out. Obviously the YouTube channel, and then of course I do buy quite a bit on eBay, so I do have an eBay page as well. All right, so let's go to the next section, which is going to be who I contacted. So one of the sites I subscribe to, and they have a great following, and they do great content, great images, and a huge following, is World War I Colorized Photos. And this is a Facebook group that was created by Doug Banks, and they're basically comprised of colorists and historians that work diligently to bring history to life with photographic digitalization and colorizations of black and white photographs, images. They're really into retelling the history through visual media, but making it very historically accurate. So I sent the photo to them, and they said they would be in touch. A few days later, a member of the group from France offered to do the work. So what I did is I sent him a high-resolution scanned image to him, and he began the work. I'll put a link to this Facebook group on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it and like it. It's just, they do phenomenal, historically relevant work. Okay. So the colorist that did this work, Memento's Colorized Photo, was the colorist who took on this project. And I'll talk about some of the challenges from what I understand, not being a colorist, that the photo presented, because it does present a lot of challenges, as you'll see. During the process, he already received some help and assistance from the True Color of History, another colorist that he received some additional assistance from, and also from some of the people in the group for particular questions as it comes to uniforms, colors, and different things like that. They're that specific when they do these colorizations. They really want to portray the historical accuracy of these images. And so the truth in color. So he proudly states that he is proudly not an artist, but what he does do is he truly believes in solid research first and being a colorizer second. So it's really paying close historical reference to everything that they do in these colorization projects. And his work is just they're all just unbelievable. So those are the connections. And what I'm going to do now, we're going to take a look at the photograph, and we're just going to briefly talk about some of the conditions. Okay, so obviously it's in very poor condition. Let me get my notes down here. So you got here you've got sections that are literally torn off. Down here that are totally torn off the photograph. You've got pinching or folds there, and of course you've got significant edge wear that's actually encroaching on the photograph and deteriorating some of the photograph. You got foxing, a lot of dirt, some scratches, some foxing down there, maybe a little bit of water damage down there. So it's got a lot of condition issues. The photograph itself was probably taken when there was quite a significant amount of cloud cover, so the photograph probably turned out well. But the one thing I'll point out with these period photographs, when there's slight movement, so this gentleman, he has a little bit of movement there, you see the movement there, they're blurred a little bit, so you have some of that going on in this photograph. And you got some movement going on in the background. You can't really tell what it is. That's why it was so important that when they did a photograph that they held perfectly still for it. What I like about it, again, is one of those medium photographs where they're not too close, not too far, but look at just the positioning of it. They're nicely centered. They've got the snow in the front. They've got the background in the back. And each one of them has a unique expression, which is totally different than the other. Where usually when you're looking at photographs, a lot of times the expressions are very staged, smiling, but this one, it captures what their thoughts are. Here we see excitement. Either we see cold or fear, uncertainty, fear, it just, and also some fear in the eyes here potentially. I think, I could be wrong. Maybe this one in the back, a sense of not wanting to be there, maybe a little bit of craziness. And this is one reason, like I said, you got this World War I soldier sticking his tongue out, which I find hysterical. Just something you don't see in World War I photographs. Okay, and then you got this older gentleman here, So if this was in the late fall, winter of 1914, some of these soldiers had already experienced a significant amount of combat, and they may had also brought in some additional recruits, potentially these guys here that don't even know what's going to be in front of them. And the terrain just kind of depicts, you still got some trees standing, but yet you can see there's multiple layers. Looks like maybe a guy coming out of a trench. So I'm thinking these are relatively new trench work. So that's why I'm thinking that it may be that period in the late fall, early winter 1914. But I could be totally way off. They're all wearing their boots, so it seems like a very early image of the war. So that's the condition of the photograph, and we'll take another look here in a little bit to show you some of the things they were able to do, from what I understand, to improve it. So let's go ahead and move forward. And when you see it, you go from that old picture to the colorized picture. It's just amazing. And I was able to show this to Rick the next following year, and he said he could not believe the skin or the skin tones that they were able to do, and the detail that they were able to do with this. And and I like I said, I'm not a colorist, but from what I understand is snow, and they did a very good job, is one of the more challenging views to do. But look like they were able to do it very well and get even the dirt in there. And even some of the light that's probably coming off on this angle there, where you're able to see it kind of reflecting off the one rifle there, but shadowed there a little bit by the different angles. It's wintertime, so you do have a sense of cold, but you have these little earmuffs, which I've never seen before on these helmets. You also have the buttons. I remember that was an issue. They had a question on what color the buttons were, so they made sure that was correct, especially on the arm leaf there. You have this different collar. I don't know if that's a different rank or what that is, but these two gentlemen have this additional collar. So if you know what that is, let me know. And you notice that there's different colors in the numbers. You've got most of these are red, but then you got some that are green. Okay, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else on this. Like I said, it's just, and then the big thing for me is just the expressions. Each one has an expression that is very unique. Like this kid here, he wants about ready to take off and run. These guys here seem excited, scared or uncertain. Like maybe these guys have witnessed some of the stuff here. Either he's angry or he's cold, one of the two, I don't know. Maybe this older gentleman here, and he also has one of those gold collars above his thing, so I don't know if that's an additional rank. Maybe he's someone that from the Africa campaign, that in the turn of the century where they had a lot of those older veterans. So just a very interesting photograph that's well presented and just has an array of nonverbal communications that you can pick up on of what they're feeling and sensing. So eyeglasses, that's the other thing too. The detail. I mean, he was able to actually get the reflection of the eyeglasses in there. That is just amazing. And yeah, so I mean, just a lot of detail in it. So they did an excellent job. Next. And that's the photo that was posted on his Facebook page. So, and he received a lot of accolades for it, and all their photos are just, check them out. I mean, they're just absolutely amazing what they can do with these colorizations, and they're so important because it is able to give you a better sense of the history, put a human connection more so than a black and white will be able to do. And we've seen it most recently with the movie That They Will Not Grow Old, and how impactful that was. And we have to remember that this is the middle of a very costly war with a lot of lost lives. So this group, they're in a period that their actions have consequences, and they're going to be a fate of history. We don't know if any of them survived. We don't know the stories. We don't know what their future held. And that what brings us today is, how did this photograph get to where it is today, to where we're able to look about it, talk about it on YouTube, and especially after it's been colorized. So just a very interesting photograph. And again, if it wasn't for the original photographer, the 12 men, and everyone that kept this photo for the 100 years plus, the dealers, the collectors, the colorists, and the historians, this photograph would have been lost to history. So we're very thankful that we were able to preserve it. Yet it remains thanks to everyone that took the time to preserve, save, and research and show this history to the future. So that, I thank you. I thank you for viewing this channel. If you like the content of the video, the period, the collector type, which is postcards and real photo postcards and photography of this time period, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for your time.